Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith, and on this channel, we talk about finance, business strategy, credit repair, leveraging business credit, and all things financial literacy. And today, we're going to be talking about one of the bank accounts that I just started when I began my new business back in March. It was about 2 weeks of me establishing this new business, and I went to 3 different banks. After I did my early warnings video and I was able to get the information removed from there, I went to Wells Fargo so that I was able to make sure that I would be, able to get a bank account with them. And I was able to start my business bank account with Wells Fargo. I also went to American Express. I was able to start a business bank account with them as well. And then the third bank, which is the one that I will probably be using primarily, will be PNC Bank. So PNC Bank has a few products that I was interested in before I started the business. I knew they were a bank that I was definitely going to be using. They're the 6th largest bank in the U.S. as of 2024. That might change. And they are in, I believe, 28 to 29 U.S. states. So you'd have to check and make sure that they are in your state or if there's a location in your city. Now, this video is going to be how to get $100,000 in credit with PNC Bank. Now, PNC Bank, from what I've researched, they offer high limit credit cards, especially when you approach this account setup the right way. When you build a relationship with PNC Bank, that's one of the most important things. They also have another product that we have not discussed on this channel, which I'm probably going to make a few videos on, especially because American Express also offers the same product. But we want to talk about business lines of credit. So a lot of you have also asked me about liquidating credit cards. That's something that I don't do. There are ways to do it, but I found that generally you don't need to actually use, you don't need to turn credit cards into cash. Generally, you really don't. There aren't too many situations where you would need that, especially if you're going to be doing things to make money. Now, in a situation where you want cash and you can't use credit, this is where a business line of credit will come into play. And PNC offers a business line of credit that ranges from $20,000 up to $100,000. And I know people personally that have had $50,000, $70,000 up to $100,000 from PNC Bank. And that was one of the things I was most interested in, because depending on what you're doing, there might be an occasion where you do need to take out cash. And what I like about a business line of credit, you can take out the amount of cash that you need with a very low interest rate. For example, if you're buying real estate, let's say you wanted to get a home and you needed to have the money in the bank in order to get your home. I did a video on FHA loans. That was the last video that I put out while I'm recording this video. There may be some other ones, but in that FHA loan video, I talked about how you need to have actual money in the bank in order for you to get approved by for the loan officer to approve it, to send that to underwriting. They want to see that you have this money. So check it out. One thing that you can do, if maybe you're strapped for cash at the time and you know that you're going to get it, but you need to sit this money in your bank account for 90 days or so, you can check out a business line of credit potentially in order to fill that void. Now, again, there is a interest rate that comes with that. So you want to make sure that if you're doing something, you're doing it the right way. That's just an example of something that you could do in a situation where you needed cash. Also, if you were paying someone for a job or a particular thing where you couldn't do an invoice and you can pay with a credit card, instead, you would be able to use the business line of credit to use cash. In that situation, I always recommend that you only take out what you know you can pay back within at least a 30-day time frame. And if you wanted to prolong it because maybe there was you were making more profit than the cost of the interest on the money, then you can make that, you can make that make sense. But without further ado, let's get into the video, how to get 100K in business credit with PNC Bank. So again, PNC Bank is the 6th largest bank in the United States as of 2024, and PNC Bank is in 29 states. They offer business lines of credit. Again, they range from $20,000 to $100,000, and that is with no documentation. I think that's one of the most understated things, and I should have led with that. There is no documentation that's required for up to $100,000 that they could potentially give you. Now, if you get to $101,000, they have a secured line of business credit. It just depends on, what your situation is. Again, if you're looking at this and you may be into real estate, you may be dealing with larger sums of money, but dealing with real estate, commercial real estate, you may be looking at a potential large profit. So it may make sense for you. They also offer credit cards with notable limits from $10,000 to $50,000 upon approval, and you can get multiple cards when you apply for those. And we're going to get into how you can apply for these things and the best position that you can be put into in order to qualify for these products with PNC Bank. So I'm going to get into some more details about what is a business line of credit. I've never talked about it on this channel, and some of you may or may not know, but a business line of credit is a flexible business loan that works similarly to a business credit card. Borrowers are approved up to a certain amount and can draw on their line of credit as needed, paying interest only on the amount actively borrowed. Funds typically accessible through a business checking account or mobile app. So think of it as money that's just going to be sitting in your business bank account that if you needed the cash, you can transfer it into your checking account. And usually it's available in like 24 hours or so. Then you can use that and you only pay interest on the amount that you take. So if you have $100,000, you're not going to be paying interest on $100,000. If you only took $5,000, you'll be paying interest on that $5,000. And usually it's for a very, very low interest rate. Unlike a traditional or term business loan, which it disperses funds into that lump sum at one time and it's repaid with the interest, the business line of credit is renewable. And as borrowers make repayments, the amount of credit available is refreshed. So it's similar to paying towards a credit card limit. And business lines of credit are typically approved for several months up to several years, depending on the lender. Now, usually for banks and PNC as well, they will regularly check your credit report, usually a soft check, just to make sure that everything is good. When they check that, you may have to get approved again for that business line of credit, depending on the situation. But for the most part, once you have it, you're good for at least 2 or 3 years. And in turn, they may offer you other products, they may offer you other services, or they could, depending on your financial situation, they could also limit it, or they can take it away as an option. And also depending on financial conditions for the country. So just bear that in mind, that those options can change just depending on what's going on. But it is definitely good, and I'll get into what the interest rates are and why this is so much better than having a typical business loan, and in some cases when you need cash, why it could be better than a credit card. When to use a business line of credit and when to use credit cards. So business credit cards are good for everyday transactions. Credit cards can be ideal for routine business purchases that don't need to pay with cash. So for example, if you're going out to eat and it's a business expense and you can get cash back on a credit card, makes all the sense in the world. Use the credit card. If they have it for gas, if they have it for certain programs, if they have it for particular merchants, you definitely want to use a credit card so you can reap the benefits of the rewards, because then you're making money for spending money. But for business lines of credit, when you're paying for purchases that you can't use a credit card for, that's the best thing about having that option. So again, you think of it as on-demand funds that you can use for payments that are not permitted to pay by credit cards. And that can include sometimes inventory. So if you're someone who does resale, you may not be able to do a credit card purchase depending on the merchant. That's where this comes into play. Vendors' bills. Sometimes vendors don't allow you to pay with credit cards. You will need cash. Payroll. If you have employees and you're paying your employees with this to, bankroll expenses, this is a good idea. It is best to rely on operating cash flow for things like this. Using the line of credit can cover these types of costs during a shortfall or a dormant period if it's warranted. So there are some times where cash flow reserves can be scarce, and in between that, we're waiting to make money. This would be a great option in that situation. But of course, you want to be aware of the interest rates and the cost of doing that. So you always want to make sure that you're going to be more profitable than the cost of the interest for using that business line of credit. Knowing the cost of borrowing. For both a business credit card and a credit line, interest starts to accrue when you tap into the funds. Now, of course, for credit cards, you don't start to accrue interest until after you go past the 30-day billing cycle and you only make a minimum payment. You don't pay the previous balance. So that's the one good thing about credit cards. Even though they do have very high interest rates, you don't have to pay interest on them if you pay them in a timely fashion. But with the business line of credit, there is a significant difference in the interest that you're going to pay. So rates for a business line of credit tend to be lower than those of credit cards, which of course we know can be around 20% or up to like 29% and even more than that for cash advances. It's the absolute worst. So definitely more cost effective for that line of credit. And while credit cards may not have annual fees, lines of credit, business lines of credit usually do have pretty high annual fees. So just bear that in mind as well. Now that we understand what those are, I want to go over some PNC data points. So PNC, they generally pull from your Experian or your Equifax personal credit score. So they're looking for a 680 plus FICO score, usually a clean credit profile, no charge-offs, no collections, utilization below 30%. But if you want to make sure you get the best available lines and get the highest approvals, less than 5%. PNC does not require you to open a business bank account, but I highly recommend it when you're trying to get the credit card or this business line of credit. And if you want to increase the odds of getting approved, open that business bank account. And you want to definitely start depositing money in there. So I started my bank account with PNC March 2024. I opened a business account and a business savings, checking and savings. And I've continued to make small deposits. So $25 per week into the checking and the savings. So that's going to be about $50 every single week. All right. So do that, I would say, for at least 90 days. Because the more money that you put in there, the better off you're going to be. The more money you put in there, the more it's going to increase your internal bank score with that particular bank. And then we'll talk about that a little bit too. So I'm going to get into the business line of credit loan details just so that you can see exactly what the interest rates are and exactly what that's going to entail when you're trying to use this as a viable option, and to see if it's going to be the best option for you and your business needs. All right, so we're on the PNC website, and on here we're looking at unsecured small business lines of credit. So let's take a look. So looking at a glance, the line of credit that is available, again, is between $20,000 to $100,000. You have easy access to funds. So you can write a check drawn against the account, or you can also transfer the funds into your eligible PNC account. Interest rates, they are variable based by the prime rate. So we have to take a look at those. And then the value added, your line of credit may be eligible for overdraft protection for your PNC Bank business checking account. I don't really recommend that, but in the chance that you were overdrawn, you can make it to where it'll take from your business line of credit and add the funds back into your account. You do have to pay interest on that when that happens. But that is an option. And there is also an annual fee of $175 per year in order for you to have that account. Now, I couldn't find the prime rate or the interest rate on the website, but the current prime rate is going for 8.5% at the time of this video. So right now it is May the 7th, 2024. So you'd have to check the prime rate at the time of watching this video, and then you'll be able to take a look at that and have an idea of what that would be before you apply. And then when you're qualified for the account, you'll be able to actually see what the interest rate is. And then based off of that, you can determine if it makes sense to use it at the time that you're considering that as an option. So step one in getting approved for PNC, you'll want to apply for the business checking account. I suggest going for the business checking account, the basic version. So if you need a basic business account with PNC, the required minimum to open the account is $100. The monthly account maintenance fee is $12. And there is no monthly maintenance fee for the first 3 months, for the first 3 statement cycles, or 3 months, however you want to look at it. There are 3 ways to avoid the account maintenance fee. You want to maintain a balance of $500. You want to use a linked PNC business credit card to make a minimum of $500 in eligible purchases. For most of us, that's probably going to be one of the easiest things that we could do. You can also maintain an eligible linked merchant account and generate a minimum of $500 in qualifying monthly deposits, which will also be easy if you normally do sales. So these are all options that you can essentially do in order to get this account for free. But first thing that you want to do, you want to go to PNC and you want to get this account set up. Okay. All right. So the next step is going to be to complete the application either in person or via Zoom. So after you apply online, you can either go into a local branch to complete the application. They're going to have you schedule an appointment, or you can schedule a Zoom call to complete the application from your home. And you will need all your business documents to open up the account. Now, when I'm talking about the business documents, I just mean like your articles of incorporation, the business license, your EIN number that you would get from irs.gov, all of that type of stuff. They may ask you for 3 statement bills for your personal bank account. Okay. You're going to gather all this information. You're going to either go into a branch or you're going to do a Zoom call and you'll schedule this. And then they're going to ask you for that documentation on the call. They're going to ask you a few questions about your business, how you operate, what are your functions, things of that nature. It's really easy. I did a Zoom call when I scheduled it. I scheduled it about like a week out because that was the next available one. It was really easy. It took all of about, I want to say like 30 minutes. So it doesn't take long whatsoever. And then once you do that, your account is set up. You should have access to access to the mobile app right away. And then from there, if you want, you can start applying for the business line of credit. You can start applying for the credit card if you so choose to. Okay. You don't have to wait. I recommend that you at least try to deposit money for at least a few months in order for you to get the best possible approval and the highest credit lines. Okay. So this goes into step 3. So after you open the business bank account, again, you can apply in the same day, but we want to increase our chances of higher limits. So we want to make sure that we're going to deposit funds for at least 90 days. Again, you could do, in my opinion, you could do a little bit of money at a time. I've seen people do lump sums where they do $1,000, $2,000 and just let it sit for 90 days. It's just whatever you would like to do. But banks they tend to lend money to people who sit money in a bank account, just because banks, they are able to operate by lending the money that you leave in their accounts. So the more money you leave into an account, the more likely they are to provide you with more tools, more options, higher limits, things of that nature. So again, the longer you leave the money, the better it'll be for you, and the better it'll be for the relationship with not just PNC, but with any bank. So definitely highly recommend you doing that. Before we wrap this video up, let's take a look at the credit card. All right, so here are the PNC Cash Rewards Visa Signature Business Credit Card. So you can earn 1.5 cash back on net purchases. Easy, no limit on the amount of cash back that you can earn. That's actually really big that you don't have a limit on cash back. A lot of credit cards usually have some type of cap, or they give you like a quarterly cap. Let's see, no annual fee. That's always a big deal. We definitely want to have that. There's the PNC Visa Business Credit Card. Now, this is probably the one that I'm going to be looking at getting. It has 0% APR on balance transfers for the first 13 billing cycles following account opening. That's really big. I'm definitely big on 0% APR, especially when you have a business plan in mind. I would not recommend getting a 0% APR card unless you have a purpose for that, because that can definitely help a lot. And of course, no annual fee on this one as well. There's the PNC Points Visa Card. If you're into points, you can earn 5 points for every $1 in qualifying purchases. You can select from thousands of rewards, including electronic gift cards, merchandise, travel, and even cash. In my experience, when you do points, you can get more for rewards, gift cards, travel than you can for cash back value. So if you want cash back, the first card that we looked at would be your best option. If you want 0% APR, that's going to be that second one. If you were interested in redeeming your credit card points for gifts, rewards, travel, this will be the one for you. Now, there is one dedicated to travel just by itself. So if you didn't want rewards, if you didn't want gifts and travel as a viable option, there's also the PNC Travel Rewards Visa, and you can earn 1 mile for every $1. So you're going to get more value if you're a person that's very, very big on traveling. You can earn double miles on the first $2,500 in eligible net purchases, and you can book your own travel and then redeem miles for a statement credit. So that's very big too, especially because it's no annual fee. I think that there's a lot of cards that when you compare business credit cards, especially if you travel, it's going to be a lot of cards with annual fees. Some of them with the annual fees do offer you more rewards, but you'd have to weigh the pros and cons. If you're new to business and you just want to have a card that gives you viable options to redeem rewards without costing you anything, this would be a great option. And then you also have the PNC Business Options Visa Signature Card. So for this one, you receive a $750 statement credit. I think that is really nice that you can get that as an introductory bonus offer. It looks like that's the only card that has that bonus offer. But you can control online reporting and spending. You get the support expense management. You get rewards. You have 3 options for the rewards with no program fees. And Visa Signature benefits, they have exceptional travel benefits when you use the card. So the way that I look at this card, I feel like it's a nice combination of both the PNC points and the PNC travel. It's kind of like a mix between the two. And then you also get those business control and support management options, which if you're operating a business and you do want to have that, definitely this would be the card for you. All these cards with no annual fees, and again, they can range between $10,000 and around $10,000. I've seen up to $50,000 for the credit limit. I would say if you got approved for 2 of these cards, which would be, in a day, $50,000 between those 2. And for the business line of credit, if you at least got $50,000 on that, which the lowest is 20, you can definitely get $100,000 in credit from PNC Bank very easily. It's not too many banks that just do that right off the bat. You can get that. Or you could even get qualified for the $100,000 with the business line of credit. And then also even, maybe 25,000 between these, or 75,000 between the business line of credit. However it breaks down, you can basically get up to that amount just from this one bank alone, which is why I was very motivated to make sure that I built the relationship with them first. Make sure that you build that relationship and then look at this option. I definitely would get the business line of credit if you're going to be doing cash. And if you're going to do anything else, get the 0% APR card. That way you don't have to pay interest on that for a long time. At least I think it was 13 statement cycles, so about a year. That is the best combination I think that you can have if you're a new business owner and you want to get cash flow going. I think that is the best option that you could possibly get today. So if you do like PNC Bank or you have an account with them, please leave it in the comments. Let me know if you did qualify for this. What did you qualify for? Please, again, use this channel as a resource hub so that when other people do get qualified, you can come here and see what they qualified for, so they can see what you were qualified for. And then we know things vary by state, and also things change. So, in certain times, if we're seeing a change among all of us, we can, deduce that something different might be going on. So I do like to make sure that information is shared and that we're actively keeping it up to date, because these things, again, they do change. The line of credit that they're offering may be different when you watch this video than what it is currently at the time. So, just make sure to always do your due diligence, go to the website, check this information, check the prime rate, always make sure that you're staying current with information. You don't want to just go based off of this one video. Please continue to do research, check the comments, because again, when things change, people comment in real time. This video can eventually get dated and I can do updates, but if I don't do them in a timely fashion, or if things changed fairly quickly, you want to always refer to your peers, to people who are, here actively on this channel every day. They're going to be your best resource. They're my best resource to making sure that I'm providing you with accurate and complete information. And I appreciate all the feedback that you guys give me. And I do take that feedback into consideration with each and every video. And I'm just happy that someone cares to even make sure that I'm being the best version of myself. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate you guys as always, and you have a wonderful day.